There's also this other really interesting thing too, is that when you even consider, other companies like Twitter, and this is an interesting way to look at it, people could argue, was what he did with Twitter right or wrong? And I think history will still see exactly how that all unfolds. Excuse me, X. But because he came in and a lot of the way he was approaching it and really firing people and being like, if you can't do this, you can't be on board for this. Sorry, you're not the right fit for this anymore. I mean, it was pretty drastic, but something he said in order for the company to be successful, this is what he believed was.
Yeah, I do. I don't disagree with what he did at Twitter because corporations have a lot of waste too. Elon, I mean, obviously, neither of us have ever worked at Tesla, SpaceX, or any of his companies, but it's very public how hardcore, as he calls it, his culture is. So he wanted hardcore people as part of his culture. I can't knock him for that. That's how he wants to run his private company. It's not no longer public. I think what hurts or is what's hurting X is himself and the stuff that he's doing and the stuff he's saying, which then is causing advertisers to pull out. I don't think it's the efficiency part of it at all.
So wait, when you say you don't think it's the efficiency part, what do you mean?
Like, I think Twitter X is probably more efficient than it was before. But the fact that the company is financially struggling, I think it's himself and kind of what political sides he's taken and the views that he's expressing is just pissing off some advertisers.
Yeah, fair. So you don't think then Elon could come in and even make a difference in that type of a role?
I don't think so. One, there's so much baggage in a government or a large corporation that has hundreds of thousands, some millions of employees. To turn that around, it takes a long time. More than 4 years. What I think the biggest blocker is, even if Elon had a plan that sounded reasonable, he's not going to have time to execute it. Because by the time, if Trump wins and this actually happens and Trump is out in 4 years, whoever comes in next is going to change that. 100% is going to change it. It's the whole idea when corporations are constantly reorging. There's never a strategy that's allowed to make it to the end to see if it works because leadership changes and it's like, here's a new strategy, throw the old one out. I think that's what will happen if there's a sound plan. But I think it's too big of a hurdle. Plus, sometimes I think you have to look at governments. Spending is okay. The governments sometimes need to spend and spend excess, control some other things that are going on within the economy. So spending is not always bad for the government, unlike a corporation when excess spending is bad 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's funny. What comes to mind for me is sometimes when I think about it, when we were at Disney, we were part of a cost center versus you had these more profit centers that, the issue was, of course, we weren't meant to necessarily be generating money. We were meant to help the other areas.